your turn.
Welcome to Your Turn, the podcast for those who are passionate about creating board games. Here we share stories, insights, and creative journey from board game designers and publishers in Vietnam and around the world. I'm Iona. I'm a game designer and currently the CEO of Everjoy Global, and I'm so excited to be your host today. So, our special guest today is someone whose work has inspired millions of players globally. He's a mind behind award-winning titles like Seven Wonders, Takenoko, and Tokaido. But today, we also speak to him in a new light as the co-founder of Playpunk, the brand new board game publishing house. So welcome to your turn, Antoine Bauza.
Hello, everyone.
Awesome.
Thank-
So Antoine, how are you? And where are you talking to us from?
So I am currently in France in my working place, and it's the end of the afternoon. So my coworker are already um, going home. So I'm alone in a big empty workspace right now. But I'm ready for your questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today, Antoine. Could you briefly introduce yourself and share how your path in board games began?
So I'm currently 46 years old. So I was a kid when the first video game came out, like Sega, Nintendo. So I grew up wanting to do just doing video games. And when I learned as a teenager that it was a job to make video games, I wanted to do this just because it feels like the best job in the world. So my desire to make game design started with my first years and the discovering of the video games. And later, when I finished my studies, I worked for a while in the video game industry because I graduated from a video game school in France, one of the first public video game school. It was around 2001, I think, or 2002 maybe. And I started to work a bit in the video game industry, but I wasn't able to find my dream job because I wanted to do game design. And when you find a job in the video game industry, you must do something else than game design, like programming or sound design or graphics. And I was very, very bad at all those things. The only thing I think I can do was creating new concept of games. So I cannot find a good job in the video game industry. And at the same time, I started to go in my local board game club, and I started to discovering the modern board games like Ticket to Ride and Puerto Rico. And I was like, hey, it's awesome because you don't need a team to design one of those cardboard game. You can just draw yourself. You don't need a programmer. You don't need a sound designer. So I can make game on my own. And I discovered the modern board game. I started to design my first board game. So it was in the early, I think it was 2003 when I started to play and to make my first prototypes.
That's amazing. And what was your first board game?
I can't remember. I think it was I made a very few bad game at the beginning that just ended in the trash bin. But the first solid concept I worked on was a card game that later became Hanabi, which is still on sale today. And this one was one of my first published prototype. But yeah, I throw away a lot of bad prototypes at the beginning.
Very nice. And so, over the years, how many games have you published? And what is the most successful titles?
It's a good question. I don't keep score, but I think it's like 50 games or maybe 60 games now with the co-design and everything. And the most well-known games are obviously Seven Wonders and Hanabi are the biggest sellers. And after that, there will be Tokaido, Takenoko, and children games. The French name is La Chasse aux Monstres. So it's in English, it's Monster Chase, I think, It's it's the first kid game I designed, and it's still on sale today. So I'm very happy about that because it's been maybe like 15 years ago and it's still published. So it's always very good when you have an old design that is still on the shelf, because as you know now there are so many games, so usually the new game push the old games away, and and they disappear. And when you get to keep one of your design on the shelf after 5, 10, or 15 years, it's a big accomplishment for a game designer.
Yeah, more than 50 game is such, a lot of work, I can imagine. And I have to tell that Seven Wonder is my own time favorite. I really love it, and it's kind of like one of the introductory board game that get started in the industry, in the hobby. So can we talk a little bit about Seven Wonder? So I know it has won over 30 international awards since its release in 2010, including the Kenneth Spiel des Jahres, if I say it correctly. Yeah, the Game of the Year award in German. So, Seven Wonders is fantastic. It has elegant card drafting system, simultaneous turns, and broad appeal. And so, it has become one of the most influential strategy games of the modern era. When you first created Seven Wonders, did you ever imagine it could have just kind of long-term impact on the hobby? And what do you think
Mm.
it's so timeless?
So yeah, no, of course not. When I designed the game, the only thing I knew is the game was better than my average prototype, because my playing group was always asking to play it. So I have this group of friends who played all my prototype, so they know all my work. And the first time I brought Seven Wonders to the table, how can you say, everybody was really exciting, and everybody asked me to bring the prototype back on the next session. So it was the first time that my playtester were like, hey, we want to play this one again because it's really good. So when I showed it to the publisher, I was pretty confident that it will be published. But we cannot imagine that everybody will enjoy the game so much, and everybody will want to play it and to buy it. So of course you cannot imagine that. Now with the industry, you know that a good game can sell a lot of copy. But in 2010, it was not so. It was a long time ago for the board game industry. Those 15 years are
Right.
changed everything for the industry.
Yes,
Yeah, it's very very different. So yeah, it was a huge surprise. I still when the game came out, I was still a school teacher, full time, and I went part time after the release of the game because the sales were good. And the year after, I quit my day job to make only game design. But I wasn't expecting to be able to do that on such a short amount of time.
Very nice. Okay, and so let's talk a little bit more about Seven Wonders, the game mechanics, and I know drafting was new when Seven Wonders launched, but your game had defied as a mainstream mechanic. What made you decide to build the whole game around drafting, and how did you keep it fresh and interesting for players?
The thing is, when I designed the game, I didn't have the draft mechanism at the start. I wanted to make this quick civilization game where when you can play really fast and with no downtime, because I hate to like many other players, I hate to wait a long time for playing my turn. So I first came with this idea of having the cards with the different colors, like the military and the science and everything. And the next step of the design was I need a way to get cards in the hand of the players. And when I think about the way that which mechanic I can use to do that, at the same time there was two very strong card game out. The first was Dominion, and the second one was Race for the Galaxy, which were the two very good development card game at the same time. So I cannot do the same. So I cannot do just drawing card from a pile because it's the mechanism of Race for the Galaxy, and I cannot do putting all different cards in the middle and make people choose because it was the mechanism of Dominion. So I wanted to do something different, and then I thought about the drafting. And in 2010, yeah, there was very few drafting games, and mainly the Magic the Gathering card player knew what drafting means, but no board game were using these mechanisms. Not at all. Yeah, of course, there's a few board games, and maybe I miss some board games using the draft mechanisms, but very few games have it. And when I thought about it, it was just perfect for my game because it allowed me to make everybody play at the same time, and that was one of the main feature of the game. And I think one of the reasons that the game has had so many successes, no downtime, you can play up to 7 with no downtime, which was very strong in 2010.
I see. Yeah. And so from what I playing, I can feel that it features a large number of cards, symbols, effects, but it still feels very streamlined and accessible. And so how did you find the right balance between making it deep and strategic, but still easy for new players to understand and enjoy and easy to pick up the game?
So I almost never design heavy games because I really like to. One of the thing when I design the games is I want to make it play for a lot of people, and not only hardcore gamers who know everything and who play a lot of games. So when I have to make a design choice, most of the time I will go into the simple way, the simple path, because I always want people to be able to enjoy the game even if they don't play a lot of game. So usually I always want to go to the easiest in the easiest design choice I can make, and then that's why I don't make very hardcore and heavy strategy games. My pleasure is to see people that's not used to play a lot of game who could enjoy my games.
Understood. Yeah. Very interesting. Okay, so now we talk about another game that you created, Takenoko. And it feels so different from Seven Wonders, not just about the team. So Seven Wonders is like an ancient civilization, but Takenoko is all about panda and a bamboo garden. And so how did the idea of this come about? And what motivated you to create a game about panda?
So the idea of Takenoko came from my first journey to Japan, which was in 2003 for Christmas, if I remember right. And I went with my wife to the Ueno Zoo in Tokyo, and I made this picture. My wife took this picture of me. There is some kind of a statue just in the middle of the Ueno Zoo, which features two pandas, a big and a big panda and a baby panda. And my wife took a picture of me in front of the statue. And when we get back to France and I saw the picture, I was like, oh, it could be fun to make a game with a panda. And the picture inspired me the story of the game. And in the first prototype, there were two pandas. There was the big pandas and the baby panda, because on the picture and on the statue in the window, there was two pandas. And then during the development, I get rid of one of the pandas because it was already too much. But in the first prototype, there was two pandas because on the picture we took, I was with a statue of two pandas. So the idea came directly from this picture, from this first journey to Japan.
Very nice. And yeah, panda is really cute, huh? So, behind Takenoko's lighthearted themes is a well-crafted system of title placement, resource management, and hidden objectives. It's a game that easy to teach. I play it as super easy, but it really has surprising strategic depth. And so, how did you strike the balance between making it again approachable for families, but still satisfying for hobby gamers who enjoy more tactical decision making?
Yeah, honestly, it was a long time ago, and I wasn't very aware of choosing your target audience and everything, because it was one of my first design. I just wanted to make games that are fun, and I did not, I did not choose. Oh, I want to make a very family game or everything, because again, it was a long time ago, and we are just making games, and people who play games are usually people in clubs and in fair, and I was just trying to make good games, and in fact, Takenoko is not so easy if you want to teach it to a family that never played the game. It's a lot of rule, and it's not so easy, but the overall experience, like everything makes sense because of the theme and of the components. You know that, yeah, the bamboo will grow obviously because there are bamboos, and the panda will be eating the bamboos because, yeah, it's a panda. So everything makes sense, and the story give you the hints and everything you need to understand the rules. But the rules by itself are a bit complex for a melee game. But when I design a game, I try to choose a theme and a story that makes sense, so the rules make sense at the end. So if your universe, if your story, if your theme makes sense with your rule sets, it's a big help to have the player understand the rule set. So I always try to have a theme that makes sense with the mechanism. It's something very important for me. I never start from a mechanism. I always start with a theme and a story, because I want everything to make sense to the player, so the rules is easy to understand.
I like that. And so trying to make the story and the theme make sense and align with each other will definitely lead to, intuitive rules, right?
Yeah.
And so it's very easy for people to pick up. Yeah. Yeah, very smart. All right. And another title that you created, so Tokaido, it's this very different stories. Now in the game, you invite players on a peaceful journey along the East Seas Road of Japan. And so I really like the minimalist design and gentle pacing of Tokaido. It feels almost as philosophical. It
Mm.
invites people to slow down and appreciate the journey, not the destination. And so the game has, become is not just a game, but as an experience. And so, what inspired you to design such a game that focus on beauty, calm, and reflection? In a market where almost many games leans toward conflict and competition.
First, I'm not a big fan of competition. I did a lot of role-playing game, which are tabletop role-playing game, which are by essence cooperative games. So I always enjoy cooperative game more than competition. So that's one of the reasons I designed Tokaido. The other was I already designed a few games with a Japanese theme, and when I designed Tokaido, I wanted to, so the player can enjoy the Japan by itself, because it was a culture that I use and I love a lot, and I wanted in Tokaido the player to enjoy the Japan. And if the game could make people wants to visit Japan, it's the main thing I wanted to do with the design. So it was not about competition. It was about, let's make a journey and let's discover a culture. So a bit of a culture. Of course, it's not Japanese culture is way more important than that. But it was a first step into the Japanese culture. So it was my main intention when I designed this game. Just enjoy and discover, and again, not about competition, everything. So yeah, there are victory points and there is a winner at the end, but we don't really care. It's not the main motivation to play the game. And in fact, when the game came out, it was the critics were pretty hard on the game because of that. Because the first critics were made by players, and when I mean players, I mean like hardcore players. So, and they were not enjoying the game because there was too few things for them to do, because we're just moving on the road and eating stuff and making buying stuff, so it's not very interesting. And it took a long time so to the game to find this place and find this audience, which were not those core gamer who like competition, but other gamers that just wanting to have fun and enjoy the game and enjoy the moment with their friends, which is not yeah, I'm better than you and I score more points than you. So it was a very hard debut for the game, and I was afraid that the game just died because of that in the beginning, because the first review were made by gamers who didn't enjoy the game, and it took time to find the right audience. And then those first players who didn't enjoy the game, they rethink their advice, because they say, hey, in fact, I play it again with my mom or with my little cousin or with casual gamer, and they really enjoyed the game. So my own point of view on the game changed because of that, because they saw that the game was designed for another audience than the usually player that play everything that go came out come out on the shelves.
Yes, that's very interesting. And another question to follow up. So it seems that you have designed quite a lot of games about Japan. And so, what inspired you? Why Japan? What excites you most about Japan? That you did you come to Japan quite a lot? And so, how and why did you choose a lot of theme about Japan?
Yeah, I was a fond of Japan before I started game design. And so I used it for because it gave me ideas, like bamboos and pandas, like samurai, of course, in Samurai Spirit, which is another game I designed about with a Japanese theme, and Hanabi with the fireworks. So I like it. I like the culture a lot. And again, we are 15 years back in the past, and those themes were original, because no one everybody is knowing Japan and this culture now because of the manga and anime and everything, and now the amount of tourists in Japan is just so huge. But 15 years in the past, those themes are really original, and I wanted to propose something original with my design. So now I didn't use Japan theme no more, because now there is a lot of game about Japan. So I want to make something else. But yeah, 15 years back in the past, there were no game about Japanese culture.
Nice. And so, in general, how do you decide what teams you want to work with?
Um, it's hard to answer this question, because when I get the idea from a game, it can be from a travel, it can be for something I watch on TV, from a book. I read a lot of books, so sometimes it just, oh, I like it. It could make a game, like it could make a story about pandas and a gardener in a bamboo forest, or so, for example, in Draftosaurus, which I don't know if you play Draftosaurus with the little dinosaur meeples. So we just found a bunch of little dinosaur meeples, and we were like, oh, those are very cute. Can we make a game with them, because yeah, they are cute. So if we can make a game with those tiny dinosaur, it could make a nice game. So sometimes it could be from a component. Like in this case, it was from a component. So the ideas are not much of a recipe for an idea. It's something which you just found something and just, hey, it could make an interesting game if I use this theme, this story, this component, or sometimes this mechanism. But I'm not working with a mechanism for a start usually.
Very nice. So the ideas come, from your daily life, and it's just, anywhere you see something interesting,
Sure, sure.
yeah, something you like, then you start the theme. Mhm.
If you want another example, I designed a game which is not well known, which is called Oceanos, which is a game when you build a submarine and you travel under the sea. And I had the idea when my son was like 1 year ago, and he was always playing in his bath with this little plastic yellow submarine, and he was always playing it that. I say, oh, okay, I want to can I make a game with when you build your submarine and go under the sea? So the game idea came from, everyday bass. My kid was playing with the same toy. So yeah, it could come from
Yeah,
almost
very cool.
anywhere.
But so is this true that you always start designing a game by picking a theme? Is that the first
Yeah,
thing you
yeah.
started?
Usually, I never start with. I never start with. Oh, I want to make a majority game or something like that. I cannot do that because I'm always thinking about the story I want the game to tell. And maybe because I did play a lot of role playing game, and I did before I start designing, I was writing stories for kids and everything. So the story always has an important aspect in my work. So I always start with I want to tell that story, a story about a panda, a story about samurai, or a story about little dinosaur in the park, or everything. So I always start with the story. And usually I don't want the publisher to change the theme when I sign a contract for a game. Uh,
Right.
it because it's because yeah, the game was born with this theme. So if you change the theme, the game is no longer interesting for me. So you usually I never change the theme of one of my game when I sign with the publisher.
What is your typical design process? So after picking a theme, what's the next step?
So when I get the first pack, the first ID, I have those little notebooks. Always the same. Maybe I can show you one if you want, but for the podcast, it's not really interesting. But it's always the same kind of notebooks, and I feel maybe 100 of them still since I started designing. So I usually take a lot of time just thinking about the game, taking notes in this notebook, making small doodles, and sometime maybe I will take like 1 year before I try to make a prototype because I start everything just in my mind to be sure where I want to go, what I want the player to experience. So I'm rather slow. Some designers they just have an idea and they make a prototype on the same day. Usually it take me a lot of time, yeah, maybe 1 year or sometime more to. And I just take notes, and sometime I'll let the idea rest, working on something else, and get back. And when I'm sure I figure it out, all the game, that all the aspects are starting to connect like a jigsaw puzzle and everything. Then I make a first prototype, and no surprise, usually it's very bad the first time, because even with a lot of experience, when you flesh out the idea and you make a prototype, the first time is always bad, and it's quite normal. So you get used to that. It's very rare that the first prototype I made was enjoyable. The only exception was Seven Wonders, which was really nice on the first prototype, but usually the first prototype is very lame.
Yeah. And how long is the whole process? Like how typical
Uh,
it take you to create a game?
so of course it depends on the weight of the game, but when I have the first prototype, usually there is like 2 years between the first prototype and the not the final prototype, but the prototype I show to the publisher to get published. So usually I need 2 years, yeah. But again, I'm kind of slow and let rest the prototype, and rethinking a lot, taking notes again, because I don't want to rush. I like to have the time to experiment and make mistakes, but it's not not every designer I know working. Some want to playing and working on the prototype. Still, it's hot, but I like to let it go cold for a while, let it rest, rethinking, and work again later. So yeah, usually I need a lot of time to do so.
Very nice. And has your design process evolved over time from your early works to your latest creation?
Yeah, sure. Well, first I did a lot of mistake during my first design. Now I can try to avoid them. So there's a lot of stuff you do and say, okay, I'm not this will never work because I tried it before. So you get more efficient, of course. And now I'm more aware of the public, of the audience I want to target with a game. So first I was just making game. Now when I design, I make a children game or family game or a more connoisseur game, and I keep this this target in mind during the process to make the good choice when there are two paths of design in front of me. You know, sometimes do I want to make these rules which is more strategic, but the rules is more heavy, or do I want to make to take the lighter rules but less strategy? So I always keep the audience in mind now when I do that. The other thing that evolved is now there are a lot and lot of games, though really give a lot of thought about this game idea have a chance to exist in the crowded market, you know. So I'm always thinking about I need some features that I'm sure that will make the game stand out from all the concurrents. Okay, if I just make a drafting game of civilization now, there are so many games that it's not enough to be good. So yeah, now when I design, there are a lot more questions I ask myself than before.
I see. And do you often design by yourself or you collaborated with other designers?
I like to do both, in fact. So usually I always have one or sometimes two design of my own, and those designers the slow one because as I said, I take a lot of time thinking about before making a prototype. And usually when I have a co-designer, it's going faster because we are speaking and we can exchange and confront our ideas. So those design are really a different experience for me than the solo design. It's very not the same process, and I enjoyed both. And I always try to mix, you know, to spending time on one of my design and then work a lot with a co-designer. And usually it's always with people with designer I already know from before because we met because we are friends or everything. And of course when we see each other we talk, and we always talk about games and of game design. And then usually we talk about an idea and we start to work on an idea together. But I never like, oh, I will give a phone call to this designer and ask him if he wants to make a co-design. It's always talking with people. And yeah, we obviously we will talk about games, and obviously at one point there will be a game idea that will emerge, and we will try to make it to flesh it out.
You're very sweet. So you like working with friends in designing a game, but have you ever ran into trouble like working with other designers?
I'm not sure. There is one time, we cancel a project with this co-designer, which is a good friend, but we have very opposite way of designing. Like he's working in the in commercial, in publicity, you know, and he's very used to work very fast and to flesh out and to finish his project very quick. And I wasn't able to keep up because again I need a lot of time to think. So when we work together, we at one moment we say, okay, it won't be possible because we have two different very opposite waves to design thing. So it wasn't working. But yeah, we are still good friends and we are still designing on our own. But we cannot manage to make work our team.
Cool. And now we talk quite a lot about your design journey, your favorite titles, and how your design process evolved over time. Let's talk about your latest foundation, so Play Punk. And I'm curious what motivated you to move into publishing after years as a designer.
Hmm. The truth is, I don't really give a lot of thought about it because if we think this through, we will not making the company. In fact, so my associate in the company is Thomas Provo, which is an old friend, and she's one of the co-founder of Repos Production, who was the publisher of Seven Wonders and other of my game. So we always get along, and we always share a common vision of what a good game is. So it's our vision. It's not absolute, but we always, are agree about, yeah, I think this game is really good, and this one is not so good, and we always agree on this topic. So when he sold the Repos production to Asmodee, maybe 5 years ago. I'm not sure. And he was working on other stuff, but he was not happy because the thing is very he liked to do, and the thing it's good to do is publishing game. So we were discussing, all week about the game we play, the game we enjoy, and everything. So, and one day we were like, "Oh, this prototype is very good, and I know no publisher wants to make it." And I was like, "We should make it because we are agreed that the game is really good. So why don't we publish it?" And he was like, "Really? You're sure you want to do that?" I was like, "Yeah, we can try. We are in the industry for maybe 20 years, so we know a thing or two about games. So what could happen wrong?" So, and we just started the company on the day after that. And yeah, no, it's a lot of work, and maybe it was not our our best idea, but we published two games. So we published a games which was Captain Flip, from Paolo Mori, Remo Consadori, who was nominated for Spiel des Jahres last year but didn't win. And we published a second game this year, which is Zenith, which is just starting his life, and we are great expectation for the game. So it's a very small company because we are three people. So Thomas, me, and we have one part-time employee who handle all the production aspects. So it's a very, very, very small company. We don't have any office or everything. We do everything by remote with Skype and tool like that. And we don't have a third game because we are really, really picky. And we are not in a hurry. We have other activity. I'm still designing games. I design less than before, but I'm still designing games, and yeah, other hobby and other occupation. So we are just waiting for games we are really enjoy, and we are sure that a lot of people could enjoy it. And it's very hard to find those kind of game, and we are still looking for the third, in fact. But yeah, we will find.
Yeah, yeah, I like it. And the two games that you have developed seems very interesting. I really want to try them if I have a chance. But I'm curious. Since you stepped into publishing, have you changed the way you evaluate games in general?
Yeah, I think a bit. Looking on the other side of the mirror. When you publish, you have other subject on, you have to keep in mind, like component and cost of everything. So as a designer now, I kept this vision on the designer side to see, okay, I want to make design, but obviously this component will be too expensive to make. So I try to think about this matter when I design. And it's very interesting, I think, to have the both, the both vision of a game, because it's very different when you are from the designer perspective and from the publisher's perspective. It's very different. You are, as a publisher, you are looking about artistic dimension, and how the theme will match different culture, and how you can handle production. So it's very, very different from the designer, and it's very interesting to have the both vision to compare, and each one is nourishing the other one, which I really love. And there are some stuff I not really enjoying from the publishing, because I love to work on the game, but managing a company, it's completely different. This is not the thing I'm very good at. That's why we are two associate, because I won't be able to do it by my own. But it's very interesting. It's meeting new people. It's working with designer. It's very, very interesting. So far, I'm really enjoying it. But it takes me a lot of time, and that's why I'm designing less game than before. Yeah.
Very nice. But what is more fun? Like doing designing games, or stepping in the publishing house journey?
The thing is, on the publishing side, everything related to the game design itself, I really enjoy. You know, when a designer show you a project, you love the project, but there are still a lot of development to do. So this I really love, the helping the designer, challenging the designer to get the better of this prototype. I really enjoy this part. I love working with the artist to flesh out the vision of the game you have. So everything directly related to the game itself, I really enjoy. But I'm not so good with the business part, to finding international partner and convince people that the game is good. So I'm not really good for that. It's not the part I enjoy the most. And hopefully, if the company grows, we will be able to hire something better than someone better than us to do those things.
Yeah, yeah, understood. And how could you describe the Playpunk's mission or design philosophy in just a few words?
The I think the right word is pushing and challenging the designer, because I play a lot of game, and there's so many time I'm disappointing with the game, because the idea of the game is really good, but I always have this feeling that the game is not so well finished, so well tuned and everything. And usually it's because the designer came with this project, and the publisher is working on the product, but he's not never, but rarely work on the design itself, because it's very hard to make game design. And usually the publishing house don't have a good experience and a good amount of game design skills, because those skills are in the hand of the designers, and it's very important that the publishing company get those skills to help the designer to get the best of his prototype. So with Playpunk, we will do a very few games, because we will take a lot of times to work with the designer to make the perfect game, and to balance everything, and to refine the rules, to be sure that everything is very accessible to a lot of player, to be sure that the theme is right, so the rules make sense as a story, like I said before. So we make a few games, because we want to spend a lot of energy to make everything the most perfect as we can. And yeah, it's our mojo, basically.
Wonderful. So what you just shared is really useful for any board game designers out there to understand the perspective from a publishing house. If we look at the broader market, could you share any thoughts on your emerging trends or direction in the board game design industry that excite you currently?
I'm not sure. I'm a bit concerned about the lot of games that are coming. I'm not sure it's a very good thing for the industry, but because again, I see too many games that are not well tuned, and sometimes some very good, strong concept waste by that. So I'm a bit I'm a bit concerned, but I'm always eager to see a new exciting design, like when the crew or the gang came out, or every the first those game you, as a designer, you play for the first time, and you're like, yeah, of course. Why I didn't think about that before him, because this idea is so strong, so fun. So I'm always eager to find those very special game. It's not about the whole industry direction, but more about finding those very few game that I think are really strong design. Like I said, the gang, the crew, or maybe the mine, which was one of the best design I saw in the past 20 years. So I'm more like looking for those little gems in the mass of everything that is coming out nowadays.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. And finally, what is the message that you would like to share with aspiring board game creators, especially for us game creators in Vietnam? We're working hard to bring our games to the global stage. So, what's the advice from you to us?
So the first one will be, don't get don't get stuck with just one design. Try to make different games and different design, because you learn every time you try to design a game. You learn a lot of things. Don't get stuck with just putting all your energy in just one concept. It could be very hard if you cannot achieve to find a publisher. So it could be very demotivating, and you will learn each time you try to make a new game. So try to make several games and not just one. That would be my first advice. And the second is be open to listening to the audience. Don't try to make the audience love the game. Hear that feedbacks to make a better game. I saw too many designers that were fixed with their design and not open to listen to the feedbacks of the players. This listening part is really one of the best skill of a designer. You need to be able to listening, to feel how people react to your work, and then to change your work to make it better. And too many designers are stuck in their own vision, but when you design a game, you don't design it for yourself. You design so a lot of people enjoy. So you have to be a very good listener to be a good designer. So you must exert and try to do that when you run your playtest session, for example.
Yeah, I can't agree more. I mean, this is really interesting and very important advice for young designers. Yeah, so listening to the feedback definitely is a key. So, Antoine, thank you so much for sharing such honest and thoughtful insights. And I really, really learned a lot from what you just sharing with us today. And for designers listening in Vietnam and beyond, I hope today's episode gave you some inspiration from Antoine's journey and what you can do to bring your games to the global stage. Just keep designing, keep refining, listening to feedback, and most importantly, don't be afraid to reach out beyond borders. Thanks for tuning into Your Turn, and see you next time. Thank you, everyone.
Your turn.